To biology, the science study of life. Vertebrates are criantes that have a backbone. During the Cambrian period, a lineage of criantes evolved into vertebrates with a more complex nervous system and a more elaborate skeleton than those of their ancestors. Vertebrates become active predators. Derived characters of vertebrates. After vertebrates branched off from other criantes, they underwent another gene duplication, this one involving a group of transcription factor genes called the Delix family. The resulting additional genetic complexity was associated with the development of innovations in the vertebrates, nervous system, and skeleton, including the presence of a more extensive skull and a backbone composite of vertebrae. In some vertebrates, the vertebrae are little more than small brogans of cartilage arrayed dorsally along the notochord. In the majority of vertebrates, however, the vertebrae enclose the spinal cord and have taken over the mechanical rules of the notochord. Aquatic vertebrates also acquire dorsal, ventral, and anal fins stiffened by fin rays, which provide thrust and steering control during swimming. Faster swimming was supported by other adaptations, including a more efficient gas exchange system in the gills. Lampreys class Cephalosporidopomorphi represent the oldest living lineage of vertebrates, like hagfishes. Lampreys may offer clues to early chordate evolution, but have also acquired unique characters. There are about 55 species of lampreys inhabiting various marine and freshwater environments, as shown in this figure. Most are parasites that feed by clamping their round jewelless mouth into the flank of a live fish. They then use their rasping tongue to penetrate the skin of the fish and ingest the fish's blood. As larva lampreys live in freshwater streams, the larva is a suspension feeder that resembles a lancelet and spends much of its time partially buried in sediment. Some species of lampreys feed only as larvae. Following several years in streams, they attain sexual maturity, reproduce, and die within a few days. Most lampreys, however, migrate to the lakes as they mature into adults. The sea lamprey Betromyzon marinus has invaded the Great Lakes over the past 170 years, where it has devastated a number of fisheries. The skeleton of lampreys is made of cartilage. Unlike the cartilage found in most vertebrates, lampreys' cartilage contains no collagen. Instead, it is a stiff protein matrix. The notochord of lampreys persists as the main axial skeleton in the adult, as it does in hagfishes. However, lampreys also have cartilaginous pipe around their rod-like notochord. Along the length of this pipe, pairs of cartilaginous projections related to vertebrate extend dorsally, partially enclosing the nerve cord. Fossils of early vertebrates. After the ancestors of lamprey branched off from other vertebrates during the Cambrian period, many other lineages of vertebrates emerged like lampreys. The early members of these lineages lack jewels, but the resemblance stopped there. Criantes were slender, soft bodies, vertebrates with prominent eyes controlled by numerous muscles, as shown in this figure. At the anterior end of their mouth, they had a set of padded hooks made of mineralized dental tissues. Most condents were 3 to 10 centimeters in length, although some may be as long as 30 centimeters. They probably hunted with the help of their large eyes, impaling prey on their hooks. The food then passed back to the pharynx, where a different set of dental elements sliced and crushed the food. Canadians were extremely abundant for over 300 million years. Their fossilized dental elements are so plentiful that they have been used for decades by petroleum geologists as guide to the age of rock layers in which they search for oil. These elements also gave condense their name, which mean coon teeth. Vertebrates with additional innovations emerged during the Ordovician, Silurian, and Devonian periods. These vertebrates had buried fins and an inner ear with two semicircular canals that provided a sense of balance. Although they too lacked jaws, they had a muscular pharynx, which they may have used to suck in bottom-dwelling organisms or detritus. Detritus, they were also armored with mineralized bone, which conveyed varying amounts of their body, as shown in this figure. The armor, which in some species include spines, may have afforded protection from predators. These armored vertebrates were formerly placed in a group called the ostracoderms, shelled skin. However, more recent research indicates that this group of paraphyletic, some lineages are more closely related to jawed vertebrates than to other members of groups. These armored jawless vertebrates were exceptionally diverse, but they are all become extinct by the end of the Devonian period. Origins of bone and teeth. The human skeleton is heavily mineralized and cartilage plays a fairly minor role, but this is a relatively recent development in the history of vertebrates. Skeleton evolved initially as a structure made of unmineralized cartilage. It is mineralization began only after Lampreys diverged from other vertebrates. What initiated the process of mineralization or invertebrates? Philip Donohoyo of the University of England hypothesizes that mineralization was associated with a transition in feeding mechanisms. Early chordates probably were suspension feeders like lanceles, but over time they became larger and were therefore able to ingest larger particles, including some small animals. The earliest known mineralized structures in vertebrates. Condensed dental elements were an adaptation that allowed these animals to become scavengers and predators. The armor seen in later jawless vertebrates was derived from dental mineralization. Those mineralization of the vertebrate body began in the mouth, according to Donohoyo. Only in more derived vertebrates did the endoskeleton begin to mineralize, starting with the skull. Younger lineages of vertebrates underwent even further mineralization.